So you want to learn how to make money from home? Let me drive that point home for you. Here's 5 ways to do that. Get it what I said there? I just said drive. Get it? Drive? All right, dad joke. Let's go on. Let's start with this. All real passive income actually can be done from home, because let's be honest, you're thinking passive income, you're thinking where you don't have to work hard to make money, right? You don't have to exchange time or hours to be able to make the money. Well, that's true. Don't believe all the influencers and social media out there where they're telling you, even on YouTube here, right? They're telling you, oh yeah, here's the best business you can start today. And it's passive, but in truth, you're really gonna be working like a part-time job. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about how do we get your money working harder for you. That's really how you can create real passive income without using your own time, energy, and labor to make it work. So don't believe the stuff that you hear online. It really is about getting your money working harder for you now. Okay, so first one I'll start with is turnkey rentals. Turnkey rentals could be one of the safer strategies you can start with because, let's be honest, if you look at people, and people have become millionaires nationwide, there's about 25 million millionaires in the United States right now. Almost all of them have real estate in their portfolio. Some of them did it accidentally because they have real estate in their portfolio. Sometimes they own their own house, sometimes it's having rental properties. They did nothing really to be geniuses, it just went up in value. That's even better than the stock market, where people have put money in the stock market for years and still haven't hit that $1 million mark. By the way, Fidelity, according to Fidelity's own numbers, only 1.8% or 810,000 of people with 401ks and IRAs have actually broken that $1 million as of the end of 2023. So guys, not a great track record. That's like a 1% success rate, not great. So with real estate, you can definitely do that. So turnkey properties, what that allows you to do is that you don't have to be the one that deals with the tenants, the toilets, and the trash. You get someone that's a turnkey company in wherever the part of the country you want to invest in, because for example, I'm in the western half of the United States, bad place to buy real estate. If I go out east though, much better prices and better rents. And so if I want to make more cash flow, I look out east. So I find turnkey companies out there that actually have properties already ready, and they even know within a certain degree what kind of profits I could be making even before I buy the property. So I can know how much I could be making on my money. So I go and I pick the property, they help me get the financing for it, even if it's connecting with a mortgage company or something, and then they property manage it for me. So I don't have to deal with it. They can actually be there, they can be dealing with the tenants, they're the ones that find the tenants, which is hard enough as it is, not to mention deal with the paperwork, happen to renew the leases, and then they're of course dealing with any issues that might come up. They're dealing with all of that. I just collect the checks after I pay them that small property management fee. Guys, that is a great way to do real estate investing in my opinion. Is it guaranteed? No. Am I giving investment advice? No. Do not take this as investment advice. Don't hold me accountable to that, right? There's risk with everything. But I'll tell you, like if you're looking for something that can actually work long term and have less risk, that is a great strategy you can use. All right, second strategy you can do, syndications. Now, syndications is when you can pool your money with other investors and really tackle a large project like an apartment building. Because let's be honest, most of us don't have like a couple $1 million just lying around, right? So what great thing you do is pool your money with other investors to go buy that investment. Like I said, it could be an apartment building, it could be self-storage, it could be a car wash, it could be oil and gas, heck, it could be assisted living homes, it could be a business in general or a franchise. There's lots of ways you can partner in deals together by pooling your money together, and then you get that portion of the business. So if you put in the money and you're 5% of that money that's raised, you get 5% of all the returns, for good or bad, right? So you can definitely get all of those together and share in those profits together. Great way to be able to diversify, especially if you want to invest in different places, but you don't have all that cash to just put into, you don't want to put it all in one deal. That's a great strategy you can use. Now just be warned, syndications can have risks, right? Just like everything, they can have risks. If that operator doesn't do a good job and they don't do what they're supposed to do, you could lose your money. If they make bad estimates on numbers, for example, like what happened in 2022, many of the apartment syndicators did not expect the interest rates to skyrocket the way they did. And that created so much stress, not to mention it lowered the value of their properties. They couldn't sell the properties if they weren't cash flowing, because if they weren't strong cash flow in the first place, they were really just hoping to sell it for a higher profit. Then what could happen is that some of these people actually lost money. So you got to be careful. Make sure you're going with a syndicator that I like, that's been around for at least 12 or 15 years and has been doing that specific kind of investment for that period of time. Don't go with somebody that said, hey, I used to do this kind of real estate investing, but now I do this. You should put your money with me. I don't like to put my money with them personally. You can do whatever you want, but I'd rather let other people be the guinea pig when they're experimenting than to do that. I actually knew somebody who actually was an apartment syndicator, was really good at buying apartments in Alabama, and then he couldn't find any more good deals because the interest rates were going up. So he was scrambling trying to find a deal. He went and tried to do a hotel in Phoenix, Arizona, which was already, I was already telling people Phoenix, Arizona is probably going to tank here in the near future. Well, some people still went and did it, and that all those deals went and just totally went under, right? Because he didn't have experience in Phoenix, nor did he have experience with trying to do hotel conversions and things like that. He was trying to get creative, and it bit him in the butt. Don't get caught being somebody else's experiment. Do not let your money be the guinea pig. All right, the third thing, and this is something I wanted to bring up too, because it's a possibility. If you're trying to generate some passive income, you can do things like annuities. Annuities are actually offered through life insurance companies. Very much like a CD, they kind of behave similarly, where they might pay you X% return. They might even have some ranges that they could pay you, but sometimes those annuities can even pay you a solid income stream for life. This is not something that often our clients will do, because the truth is most of our clients say, well, I could get paid 6% a year on that annuity, and yeah, they have a contractual obligation to pay us that amount, but in truth, I can make 10% over here, and they have a contractual obligation to pay me by lending my money to another investor or something like that. So we don't get a lot of clients that really like to do annuities, but it is an option. And I have some clients that we talk about infinite banking a lot on this Money Ripples channel. By the way, like and subscribe if you want to be able to follow more of these videos. But we talk about infinite banking. Now, we talk about how to make money with it now, but there's also the added benefit that you can have tax-free income sometime down the road, even before you're age 59 and a half. And so you could also make income from that. I have some people that they've already built up over $1 million in cash value. They wanted to let that money last for 25, 30 years. They could probably pay themselves 70, 80 grand a year and keep that money going and not run out of money. So there's lots of different options you could do, but just know, I wanted to throw that in there, even though that's more like a traditional advisor type option, that definitely could be a good solid option for you, having to kind of throw in the mix here with these different options. All right, now I just mentioned lending, right? Because I said a lot of our clients would say, I'd rather just invest here and make more than I could with an annuity. It's true. You can actually be the bank. You can lend your money to investors where they try to make the money off of that money, and then they pay you back a certain contractual interest rate. Now, of course, anything could go wrong. There's always risk. You're gonna hear me say this every time. There's always risk, right? So you wanna make sure you're investing with somebody who knows what they're doing. But I'll tell you, I mean, I've had several people in my life where they're looking to raise money for a flip. They wanna buy a property, renovate it, and then flip it, sell it for a much higher price than they bought it for, and even what they cost them for renovations. They know they'll make a killing, but rather than trying to use their own money, they'd rather just borrow somebody else's money, and then at a benefit, they actually make people money too. And so I have a lot of people that will offer 10+% a year for you lending their money. And here's the good news. You can actually be on the property. You could actually be the one, just like the bank is when you get a mortgage, you could be the one on the property. If they stop paying you, you take the property. It's yours. It becomes contractually yours where you get to keep the property. Obviously, we'd rather just have the income coming in, right? But it's nice to know you can actually get that. Recently, I had a friend that actually asked to borrow $50,000. He offered to pay me 15%. I said, yep, I'll do it. And got my money back in 3 months, got about almost a 4% rate of return on that money in just those 3 months, guys. That $50,000 became almost $52,000 in just a short period of time. Lots of ways you could do that. There's even longer term options you could do as well. There's even funds. They have different types of funds where they'll even do it as a lending fund, and then they'll go and diversify it a little bit if you're worried about just being in one deal. So many options, so many possibilities you could do just in the lending space alone. And then the last one are partnerships, right? You can actually partner on deals with other people. Now, short-term lending kind of sounded like that, and it could be, but this is something where you're more of an equity partner, right? So for example, I partner on a deal with Raw Land. You know, the guy is a 30% partner. He does all the work. He has all the teams and everything working, where I'm the 70% as I'm the one financing the money. Now, although I put in a few $100,000 up front, after that, I've reinvested all of our cash flow for the last 2.5 years. It is now, after I've put in a total of $400,000, it's built to over $10,000 a month. Guys, I'm literally making almost 130 grand a year off of that cash. That's huge. And so I love those kind of options. I love being able to make more money from that. So that's one option you can have too. You have a partnership where, again, you've got some collateral of some sort, hopefully, that you're using. By the way, if this guy were to go away, I still own the properties. They're still mine. So I've got, you know, even though I've put $400,000, I've got like $800,000 worth of properties in my portfolio. So just know that there's so many options that you can do that your financial advisor will either, one, not know anything about, or two, scared to let you know about, because why? they're scared that you're going to take your money away from them because that's where they make all their money. They don't make money from investments. They make money from you while you might make money from those investments. That's kind of a crooked thing. These are much better. You go direct to the source. You could have, in some cases, less risk, but higher returns when you do it this way. All right, guys, if you were looking for more ideas of what you can do here, like I said, follow our Money Ripples channel here, like, subscribe to it. We've got plenty of other ideas of how you can actually get your money working harder for you today. And be sure to follow our Money Ripples podcast.